Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. My name is Jack and this is your latest Manchester United news. And look, we've got some updates, not an awful lot of updates to be honest with you, but we'll go down through some of the, I suppose, the key updates that we've got today, especially around Jadon Sancho going to Borussia Dortmund. And of course, Anthony Martial continues to be linked with a move away. Then he's linked with, not linked with anybody, and he's going to be staying, seeing out his contract, so on and so forth. So we'll talk about that as well. Of course, any questions or comments you have, get them into the comment section below. I do want to spend a little bit of time. It's going to be a quick show today, guys, because I've got to go about 20, 25 minutes. But I want to go down through maybe some of the worst signings potentially that Manchester United have had, obviously since Sir Alex Ferguson has left. We'll go down through some of the names. Unsurprisingly, the top 10 expensive signings in the history of Manchester United have come post Sir Alex Ferguson. So we'll talk about some of them as well. But like I said, get your thoughts into the comment section as usual, guys. Ben is in, Aaron is there as well. Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining. Smash a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, all of that good stuff. But like as I said, we're going to start off, and I want to talk first and foremost about Anthony Martial, because we mentioned him yesterday on our news show that he potentially could see out his contract and stay at Manchester United until the end of the season and go on a free in the summer. And look, I made a TikTok on it today, and in fairness, a lot of people were, the reaction that I got from it was something that I was kind of expectant of it. I kind of went in on Martial a little bit saying, it's terrible the fact that he's going to see out his contract and, not allow us to get a transfer fee for him in January. And I also kind of said that, look, I understood that, he's getting a payday at Manchester United. It's probably not going to get any better than what it is at the moment. And the majority of people said the same thing in the comment section. They were like, it's not his fault. It's Manchester United's fault for giving him so much, so much money and a long contract and renewed it and so on. And I basically kept him at the club for as long as they have. And while I do agree with that, I'm kind of in the mindset of the old Manchester United when I talk about things like that, about, giving him big money and renewing his contract. Whereas now at the moment, you nearly try to be as positive as you can. Jim Ratcliffe is in. We're going to be getting people in place that are, good at their job, finally, according to reports anyway. And that's the kind of direction that I'm going in. And I think, I think the more we see this, the Martials, the Harry Maguires, the Scott McTominays, trying to offload these types of players, just reminds me of how foolish we have been in the past 10 years in terms of what we're giving players in terms of salary, in terms of length of contract, all that kind of stuff. And I can't wait for things to change. I really can't. Now, Jim Ratcliffe might come in and, he might say, I don't know, I want Mbappe, and give him a 7-year deal on 400 grand a week or whatever it might be. But, the kind of vibes we're getting off of the club and off of even, the media and so on and so forth is that, Manchester United over the next few years under Jim Ratcliffe is going to be run properly and run hopefully successfully towards actually going on and winning some trophies. And the Martials and the Jadon Sanchos, they're all just reminders of how shite we've been in the last 10 years. And I can't wait for the club to be rinsed of all of this negativity. But anyway, getting back to Martial, reports have suggested, obviously, that he may stay and see out his contract until the end of the season. However, reports have been suggesting over the last few days from a number of different outlets that his agent has been spotted in Turkey, potentially Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, these types of teams. I haven't seen any pictures of this to back it up, so we don't know what kind of truth is behind it. You would hope it is true. And even if he is there, he might only be doing some reconnaissance. It might not mean that, he's going to try it. Now, look, agents want players to move because they get a signing on fee and they get bonuses and all that kind of thing. So just because we've spotted, or supposedly Martial's agent has been spotted in Turkey, does not mean that he's actually up and leaving the club in this transfer window. Now, other reports today have suggested, this is Fenerbahce, Besiktas and Galatasaray that potentially are interested in Martial. Other reports then are suggesting that Erik ten Hag wants Anthony Martial to leave now. He does not consider him as part of the Manchester United squad. Negotiations are now ongoing between Martial's agent and Fenerbahce. Now, this is the type of thing that we're seeing, in relation to Anthony Martial. It's he's been out ill for 4 weeks now, minimum, nearly 5 weeks, I think, with an illness. You don't get an illness for that long, especially when you've got the medical resources that Manchester United have and so on and so forth. Erik ten Hag is freezing them out. He really is. And it's, we've seen this done before. I don't know what the breaking point is, but we've had this argument about players down, over the last 18 months or however long it's been since Erik ten Hag has taken over at Manchester United. It started with Ronaldo, then it was Jadon Sancho, it was Varane for a little bit, Harry Maguire. Now we're seeing it with Martial as well. Erik ten Hag is identifying players he doesn't want at Manchester United. And I'm all for this. I'm all for it, because maybe this is the only way of actually getting these players out of the club, is to fall out with them. We've seen it with Jadon, or we've seen it with Ronaldo. He obviously didn't want Ronaldo as part of his plans. Okay. And then he eventually left. He didn't want Jadon Sancho as part of his plans after giving him enough string on the rope, and he's gone now. Martial has now been, kind of frozen out. And I think it has to be done. It really does. And it's harsh. It is harsh. Absolutely it is. But if we want to cleanse Manchester United of all of these, journeymen and passer or hangers on, then I think this is the way it has to be done. It really does, because players are just happy to sit in, collect a check and see out their contract. You know what I mean? So, the sooner Martial goes, the better, to be quite honest with you. DJ says, sup chat, hope everyone is doing well. I got 2 dudes having a lover's quarrel in the apartment right above me. But other than that, I'm good. Happy days, man. Happy days. Be a sickener for him to go on a free, but F him, one less leech in the club. Oshin says, get that bum out of our club. Ben says, we've all been wanting change. So if these players want to leave on a free and run their contracts down, so be it, proving their worth and what they actually think. Exactly. And what top club is going to want to go out and sign one of these players who's running down his contract, happy to sit in the bench, happy to not, have any input? I think it looks bad on them. Solo is in from the Man United agenda. Good to see you, pal. Thanks for joining us. He says he's always sick. He is, isn't he? He absolutely is. But yeah, that's Anthony Martial, guys. And look, time will tell. Obviously, what have we got? We've got little under 3 weeks left of the January transfer window. And I mean, the quicker we can move Martial out, the better. If we could get some money in for him, it would allow us potentially to go and reinvest it in the January transfer market. But let's see what happens. Moving it on to this guy, Jadon Sancho officially joins Borussia Dortmund on loan from Manchester United. And look, we've been talking about this now for a week or two. Let me see, what people are saying on TikTok here before we move on. Bobby says, who do you think is winning the league? Man City. Mark says, Ten Hag needs to go away. Worst manager in Man United. Fight player. I don't understand what any of that's saying. Must be shipping the United fan at the moment. Yeah, it's better than being a Scouser. You know what I mean? Worst Man United times. Still better than that. Let's see. Get rid of the dead wood one by one, says Jar. Absolutely. Moldoza says, Martial has been piss poor for years, except against Everton for some reason. I know I've seen him score in Old Trafford against Everton. I was there for that game. It was a game, actually, that Ronaldo was dropped by Solskjaer. Nightmare. Absolute nightmare. I was devastated. Ethan says, Kylian Mbappe to Liverpool, Arsenal, Real Madrid. He won't be going to, if you think Kylian Mbappe is going to go to Liverpool, I hope you do, because it'll just be as funny as the time he thought Bellingham was going to sign for you. Chris says, nice comb over. Yeah, no gel today. All out of gel. All out of wax. So, we're going freestyle today. So we are. Let's see. Aaron says we all know that what illness it is. Lazyitis. He's probably worried sick that he might go to another club and actually have to work for his wages. DJ says a lot of our players are running out their contracts, knowing that their last big payday. No club trying to reach big ambitions will want Martial, a broken down striker who prefers to sit than play. Absolutely spot on. And Solo says, hit that like button, everybody. Appreciate it, Solo, as always. My man, appreciate it. Dax Wax or Brill Cream. I actually use VO5 is what I use. But anyway, let's keep it on point here, can we? Jadon Sancho to Borussia Dortmund. Look, we know it's been done and dusted now. It's been pretty much on the cards for the last week or so. We've been talking about it. But I did want to discuss for a few minutes. Like I said, I haven't got an awful lot of time. So for the next maybe 10 minutes or so, I want to talk about the worst post-Ferguson Manchester United signing. Okay. And you can have your say on this. Who do you think the worst signing has been? Now, it doesn't just have to be in terms of performance. It can be in terms of value for money, sell-on fees. Did we recoup any money when we sold them? So on and so forth. I'm going to go down through some names here. I give you the 10 most expensive players in Manchester United's history. Okay, no surprise, they're all after Sir Alex Ferguson retired. And we'll go through them and see what we think. But first and foremost, you've got Mason Mount at 64.2 million euros. Now, look, Mason Mount is new at the club, and he still does have an awful lot to, I suppose, he's got an awful lot to prove. He really does, because the start of his Manchester United career, Mason Mount, hasn't been great. Let me just put it up on the screen, actually, and we'll go down through it. So, look, I mean, Mason Mount's the start of Mason Mount's career at Manchester United hasn't been by any means spectacular. And he does have an awful lot to prove when he does come back from his injury. First and foremost, when he comes back, he has to stay injury-free. Okay. Second of all, then, staying injury-free, you got to put a run of good games together and actually try and get back into this team, because it is going to be hard to get back in. Kobe Mainoo now is established. We're going to be having Casemiro coming back as well. I go and see Bruno losing that number 10 position. So Mason Mount is going to have to work very hard. But I don't think he is in the bracket of one of the worst signings we signed, because he's still got a long way to go. Number 9 is Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes, I think, is probably the only real successful signing we've had post Sir Alex Ferguson. I mean, there's no point in even including him in any of this. Casemiro then is next at number 8. And look, while he did have a very good first season, I mean, he dragged us kicking and screaming in an awful lot of stages last year. This season hasn't been anywhere near up to standards for him. And he's going to have an awful lot to do to regain the kind of form that he had last year. Now, here's one that certainly falls into that bracket. Angel Di Maria. He is certainly up there, with one of the worst signings in Manchester United history. After reaching the World Cup final with Argentina and having spent several years at Real Madrid, Di Maria was seen as a monumental signing for United in 2014 when he joined the club for a record fee of 75 million euro. He had the famous number 7 on his back. He started well with 3 goals and 4 assists in his first 6 games, and that little chip against Leicester. We were thinking, wow, we've really got something on our hands here. But it very quickly went south with rumours of a rift behind the scenes. His wife would later label Manchester as a shithole as the pair turned to Paris after just 12 months in England. So, yeah, he is certainly up there. I think his house got burgled as well while he lived in Manchester. So, yeah, he was certainly up there. Oshin says, was Falcao post-Fergie? He was. Rasmus Højlund, we're going to skip him, obviously. He's come. Romelu Lukaku. Now, here's another guy that you could potentially talk about being up there as one of the worst signings in Manchester United's history post Alex Ferguson. Now, I think a lot of it to do with with Romelu Lukaku was the actual price tag more than anything else. You know what I mean? He scored 16 goals in. He scored 16 and 12 goals in his 2 Premier League seasons at Old Trafford, respectively, before leaving and going to greater heights at Inter. 16 goals in his first season was not a bad return, but in terms of getting 16 goals for 84 million euro, just didn't live up to it at all. Really didn't. All in all, Lukaku put together 2 relatively decent campaigns at Old Trafford, and considering Man United sold him to Inter for 74 million, he wasn't the colossal failure he sometimes made out to be. Yeah, it's like we did recoup an awful lot of money for him. I just think he was a complete underwhelming signing, and was a kind of a he was a Jose Mourinho signing, just after Jose Mourinho or just before Jose Mourinho got sacked, really, wasn't he? He signed under Mourinho, didn't he? I'm pretty certain he did. But anyway, we get on to Jadon Sancho, 85 million. He's the 4th most expensive player in Manchester United history, and I think he is right up there with the worst signings that we have had in the history of the club. We spent the best part of a year trying to sign him before finally getting him in the summer of 2021. And I mean, he has struggled, as it says here, in his first 2 seasons. What is it? Is it 12 goals in 2 years, I think he scored, which is just not good enough. It really isn't. We've got Harry Maguire next then. Obviously, he's 87 million. I think he is up there with probably not in the same kind of levels as a Di Maria or a Jadon Sancho, but he is up there with probably one of the worst signings in terms of value for money, because we didn't get much value out of him at all for the money we paid. So I think he does have to be up there. Anthony, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think Anthony is going to probably go down as the worst signing in United history if he doesn't somehow turn his United career around on a sixpence, because he has been so underwhelming since he signed that it's quite frightening. It really is. And he has an awful lot to do to turn things around. And then obviously Paul Pogba is the most expensive signing in United's history, 105 million from Juventus in 2016. This was just a disaster. It really was. And for a player to leave on a free, we then pay 105 million for him a few years later, and we let him go for a free again. It's just criminal. It's just absolutely criminal. It goes to show how poor Manchester United's transfer policy has been down through the years. But let me go down through some of the comments that you guys are saying here, and we'll see, obviously, because these are the most expensive players. But obviously, there are players that don't cost as much that still might be as big of a flop. Di Maria has been mentioned a lot there. Aaron says Pogba. Let's see. Aaron says Sanchez. Yeah, now Sanchez certainly is up there as one of the worst signings. What did we spend? I think it was 50 million we spent on him, and then we gave him some ridiculous wages, like 400 grand a week or something. And I think only up until a few years ago, he was actually still on the books for Manchester United for a long time. Really, really poor out United there. Oshin says Lukaku, Alexis, Pogba, Di Maria, Schweinsteiger, and Darmian. Yeah, they're a couple of interesting ones. Schweinsteiger, I think, was a terrible signing, even though I liked him when he came to United. And I think he was a very good footballer for Bayern Munich, but he was way past his best. His pace was gone. He was injury prone. I think it was a very, very poor signing, Schweinsteiger. And Darmian as well, never really kicked the ball, didn't he? Never really kicked the ball. Schneiderlin and Fellaini, says Oshin. Schneiderlin, 100%. 100%. An absolute terrible signing. Fellaini, I'll debate anybody with Fellaini. And the reason being is that Fellaini came to Manchester United, and Fellaini played for Manchester United, played as good for Manchester United as he did for any other club he's ever been at. You know what I mean? He just wasn't a good footballer, but that's not his fault. I think Fellaini, in terms of doing what he done at Manchester United, I think from a personal standpoint, Fellaini would go, I wasn't a failure there. I actually played as good at Manchester United as I did at, Everton before it and wherever he was before that. So I kind of have a bit of a soft spot for him. I used to love the big noodle on him. When he scored a goal in, he put the arm, come on. You know what I mean? I used to like a bit of that. But anyway, Sancho was the worst signing, says Chris. Party Pooper says Fellaini was great. Was Falcao post-Fergie? Yeah, Falcao was definitely up there as well. We thought we were getting, you know, one of the world's top strikers in Falcao when he came in. And again, he just completely underwhelmed. He really, really did. Now it says Lukaku, great first touch. Yeah, I know, yeah. Pogba says yeet. Anthony is the worst so far, says Party Pooper. Sanchez playing that damn piano. Remember that video? It was embarrassing. So it was. It really was embarrassing. You know, just playing the piano and letting on that he could. What did we give for Van de Beek? Let me tell you now. Van de Beek's transfer fee, 35 million. 35 million we paid for him. Yeah, so he's certainly up there as a very poor signing as well. Guys, I am going to have to leave it there. I do apologize. We can't. It's a shorter show tonight, but we've had a little bit of a different kind of a show. You know, not all news and, you know, a little bit of a discussion there. I'm going to go with the worst signing in United's history. It has to be Paul Pogba for me. To let him go twice on a free and pay 105 million in between. He underwhelmed so much that, yeah, I think it's going to have to be him. But guys, look, thanks a million for watching. Sorry for having to cut the show short. Again, we will be back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock for our new show, Friday night, as usual, 8 o'clock. Please do get your video sent in to me as well, guys. If you want to be part of the match build-up video that we put up an hour or two before each game, please do send me on your 60-second match preview videos. Send it to United Community Channel at outlook.com. 60 seconds, give me your team selection, your score prediction, what you think might happen in the game, so on and so forth. Get them sent to me, please, before Saturday night, and I'll put them all together on Sunday morning, and we'll upload them then an hour or two before the game. Yeah, we done it for the first time last week, and it's been a good success. People are really happy with it, and so on and so forth. So please send them on to me, and I get them uploaded on Sunday. We'll be back tomorrow night, and then, of course, we've got the watch along on Sunday as well. So thanks for watching. Smash a like on the video. Hit subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you tomorrow.